Prince Harry's new book, Spare, isn't even out yet, but fans have already gotten several explosive revelations from his autobiography. The book, which comes out January 10th, was first leaked in advance copies and mistakenly went on sale early in Spain, despite tight security around its publication. Access Hollywood is breaking down the biggest bombs coming out of the book, from how he reportedly lost his virginity to an older woman, a physical altercation with his older brother Prince William, and Meghan Markle and Kate Middleton's rumored feud.
Prince Harry isn't holding back in his new book, Spare. According to a new report from The Guardian, the royal is reportedly going into detail about an alleged altercation with his brother Prince William that allegedly happened back in 2019 after William allegedly called Meghan Markle, quote, difficult, rude, and abrasive. Per the excerpt from the unreleased book obtained by The Guardian, which has not been independently verified by Access Hollywood, Harry claims that William allegedly, quote, grabbed me by the collar, ripping my necklace, and knocked me to the floor. The outlet reports that Harry claims to have suffered a visible injury to his back. Spare is set to be released next week and has been shrouded in secrecy. Prince William has not responded publicly to the allegations revealed in The Guardian's report. Access Hollywood has reached out to Prince Harry's team for comment. No comment was available at the time when Access Hollywood reached out to Kensington Palace. The update comes after Harry spoke out in a new interview with ITV's Tom Bradby, saying he wants his relationship with his brother and father, King Charles, back.
I don't know how staying silent is ever going to make things better.
Prince Harry is getting honest about if he will attend his father, King Charles III's coronation in May, despite ongoing tension, in a newly released preview for his upcoming interview with ITV's Tom Bradby, which drops on January 8th.
If you're invited to the coronation, will you come?
There's a lot that can happen between now and then, but, you know, the door is always open. The ball is in their court. There's a lot to be discussed, and I really hope that they are willing to sit down and talk about it.
During the candid conversation, the Duke of Sussex details the rocky relationship he has with the royal family, exactly 3 years after he and his wife Meghan Markle announced they were stepping back from their roles as senior working members.
Wouldn't your brother say to you, Harry, how could you do this to me? After everything we went through, wouldn't that be what he would say?
He'd probably say all sorts of different things.
Some people will say, you have railed against invasions of your privacy all your life. But the accusation will be, here are you invading the privacy of your most nearest and dearest without permission. That'll be the accusation.
That would be the accusation from the people that don't understand or don't want to believe that my family have been briefing the press.
Harry is also sitting down for a one-on-one with Good Morning America's Michael Strahan.
There's a quote in this book where you refer to your brother as your beloved brother and arch nemesis. Strong words. What did you mean by that?
There has always been this competition between us, weirdly. I think it really plays into, or is played by, the heir spare.
The 38-year-old is also going to appear in an explosive interview with Anderson Cooper for 60 Minutes, where he is pulling back the curtain on the royal family and the press, and revealing why he and Meghan have been so willing to go public with their story despite some criticism.
Every single time I've tried to do it privately, there have been briefings and leakings and planting of stories against me and my wife. You know, the family motto is never complain, never explain, but it's just a motto, and it doesn't really hold.
There's a lot of complaining and a lot of explaining.
Endless.
Private, being done through leaks.
Through leaks.
The Duke and Duchess now live in California with their 2 kids, 3-year-old Archie and 1-year-old Lilibet, as Harry shares new claims and details of where he stands with his dad and brother back in the UK ahead of the release of his memoir, Spare.
They will feed or have a conversation with the correspondent, and that correspondent will literally be spoon-fed information and write the story, and then at the bottom of it, they will say that they've reached out to Buckingham Palace for comment. But the whole story is Buckingham Palace commenting. So when we're being told for the last 6 years, we can't put a statement out to protect you, but you do it for other members of the family, there becomes a point when silence is betrayal. The same people that chased her into the tunnel photographed her dying on the back seat of that car.
Prince Harry has long blamed the paparazzi for his mom's death, like he did on the Apple TV Plus docuseries The Me You Can't See. But now in his new book, Spare, which NBC News has not yet obtained or seen, Harry reportedly reveals that he actually visited the Paris tunnel where his mom died in 1997.
Harry says that he was in Paris in 2007 for the Rugby World Cup. He asked the driver if he knew the tunnel where his mother had died.
TheDailyMail.com has obtained a copy of the book, and editor Charlie Langston reports Harry had a very specific request in his attempt to find closure.
Harry then told him that he wanted to go through the tunnel at exactly 65 miles per hour, which was the speed that he had been told by police his mother was traveling when her car crashed.
Another reported bombshell, a cruel joke allegedly made by Prince Charles when he was telling Harry a story.
He then turned to Harry and said, "Who knows if I'm even your real father?" Harry says that at the time this joke was made, rumors were circulating quite significantly that Harry's real father was in fact Major James Hewitt, whom Diana had had a 5-year affair with.
And then there's this salacious story. According to TheDailyMail.com, Harry writes about his first time, reportedly revealing it was with an older woman. He never names her, but says it took place behind a pub in 2001 when he was 17. Harry reportedly wrote, quote, "a humiliating episode with an older woman who liked macho horses and who treated me like a young stallion."
After it was over, she gave him a slap on the behind, and off he went on his merry way.
Prince Harry is revealing some cheeky details in his new book titled Spare. According to Page 6, the Duke of Sussex was reportedly suffering from frostbite on his penis at Prince William and Kate Middleton's wedding in April 2011. The 38-year-old royal reportedly says in the book that he suffered frostbite in several parts of his body following a March 2011 expedition to the North Pole, where he did a 200-mile charity walk. Quote, "Pa was very interested and sympathetic about the discomfort of my frosted-nipped ears and cheeks. While the ears and cheeks were already healing, the todger wasn't. It was becoming more of an issue by the day," he reportedly writes in the book, which Access Hollywood has not independently verified. Although his trip to the North Pole left a literal mark on him, it was for a good cause. He raised more than $2 million for the charity Walking with the Wounded.
Prince Harry is sparing no expense when it comes to his new memoir. In the Bombshell new book, Spare, the Duke of Sussex is reportedly getting very personal while discussing whether or not he and his brother Prince William are circumcised. There were countless stories in books and papers, even the New York Times, about Willie and me not being circumcised, Harry says, according to Page 6, adding, "Mummy had forbidden it, they all said, and while it's absolutely true that the chance of getting penile frostbite is much greater if you're not circumcised, all the stories were false. I was snipped as a baby." The 38-year-old's confession came up as he divulged that he got frostbite at his older brother and Princess Kate Middleton's pre-wedding dinner, according to the publication. "Upon arriving home, I'd been horrified to discover that my nether regions were frost-nipped as well, and while the ears and cheeks were already healing, the todger wasn't. It was becoming more of an issue by the day."
Access Hollywood spoke with DailyMail.com's Charlie Langston, who got an exclusive look at the book, and she broke down some of the bombshells.
The way that Prince Harry frames the story of losing his virginity is recalling an encounter with one of his royal bodyguards who paid him a visit at Eton and said that he had been sent there to find out the truth. Harry immediately thought, "Oh, he's here because he's found out that I lost my virginity." He then proceeds to recount what he says was the humiliating experience of his first time having sex. He says that his encounter took place in a field behind a very busy pub, that the woman in question was older, although he doesn't name her. He says that she treated him like a young stallion, that he mounted her, and that after it was over, she gave him a slap on the behind, and off he went on his merry way. Now, he says that it was humiliating. He says that it was incredibly foolish because it took place in such a public area and he was convinced that someone must have seen it happening. As it turns out, the bodyguard in question had been sent to Harry's school to ask whether Harry had been doing drugs, but Harry took that opportunity in the book to share a very intimate moment with what will no doubt be millions of readers across the world.
I can't believe he's sharing all of this.
I think the truth of the matter is, this book is really, as far as Harry is concerned, this book is the first opportunity that he has had to share his story. Now, we've seen Harry and Meghan doing multiple joint projects, the Oprah interview, the Netflix series, the future Invictus Games documentary, but at no point has Harry really been given the opportunity to tell his side or his recollection of events from his childhood until now. And I think in some ways, this experience of writing the book will have been something of a floodgate moment for Harry, where once he started, he just couldn't stop. And you have to keep in mind, he also received multi-millions of dollars for writing this book, and the publishers were not going to accept a retelling of the story that he's told multiple times. This book needed to have personal details in it that could not be found anywhere else. And the story of Harry losing his virginity is exactly the kind of moments that the publishers will have wanted from him. And he delivered.
Let's talk about the new details on the feud between Meghan and Kate. Harry says Kate had baby brain. Can you explain the context of that, what happened, and why Meghan allegedly said that?
The argument that took place between Meghan and Kate in the lead up to the Sussexes' wedding in May 2018 is something that by this point, the majority of people know about. It's become a she said situation. It was first reported that Meghan had made Kate cry. Meghan then said during her Oprah interview that no, it was actually the other way around, that Kate had in fact made her cry. After that, it was reported again that no, it was in fact Meghan who made Kate cry over an argument about bridesmaids' dresses. Whether or not we will ever find out the truth remains to be seen. However, Harry does admit that Meghan made a comment about Kate having baby brain because of her hormones, again, in the lead up to their wedding. Understandably, this comment really upset Kate, and Meghan was actually reprimanded by someone inside the palace who told her that she was not close enough to Kate to be joking about her hormones. Meghan found that encounter upsetting for her part. I think the reality about this whole controversy is that the two women were never bosom buddies. They were never best friends. And to hear it from sources who are close to Kate, she did all that she could to welcome Meghan into the royal family and to really show her the ropes, to kind of indicate to her best practices, as it were, the best practices of being a new member of the royal family. As far as Meghan is concerned, Kate did not give her enough support and didn't really treat her like a sister-in-law. She was more like a kind of, person who was making sure that Meghan was following the rules. So I think the truth of the matter is the two women were never really on the same side, nor were they really on the same page. And this anecdote just indicates that once again. Harry basically says Meghan made what she thought was a joke, Kate didn't take it to be a joke, and Meghan was the one who was reprimanded.
So do we know at this point how the King, William, and Kate must be feeling about all these attacks from this book and also the Netflix docuseries?
Hugely mixed emotions. I think anyone who has seen their name dragged through the mud by a family member in such a public forum couldn't help but feel huge amounts of hurt, betrayal, but also anger, especially because of all people, Harry is very much aware that senior members of the royal family are bound by certain rules that prevent them from acknowledging attacks like this. only on very, very rare occasions will the palace comment on allegations, accusations, rumors, and so on. And even when they do comment, it is a very short one-line response. When William, for example, said, "We are very much not a racist family." When Buckingham Palace issued a statement about the Oprah interview saying that recollections may vary. At no point has anyone inside the palace walls been given the opportunity to defend themselves, and Harry knows this. In one of his TV interviews to publicize the book, he parrots the fact that the royal family's motto is never complain, never explain. So he knows that their hands are tied and that there is very little that they can do to defend themselves. So he is effectively shouting attacks at his brother, at Kate, at Charles, at Camilla, all of whom have metaphorical tape over their mouths. And that is the written version of kicking someone when they are down.
After all of these bombshell claims, do you think that Meghan and Harry have just totally ruined their relationship with the royal family? Is there any way they could ever come back from all of this?
You know, I think the relationship between the Sussexes and the royal family was destroyed long before the book was released. I think that Meghan and Harry had reached a point of no return months ago. I think the book is just yet more evidence of why they can never be welcomed back into the royal family. What has been proven by the Sussexes time and time again is that there is no end point. We had the Oprah interview, which was, if you are going to look at it very kindly, their opportunity to tell their story. However, if you're going to look at it with a very cynical eye, when they received what is estimated to be a $100 million Netflix deal, they were happy to once again share their side of the story because they were making money. Same with Harry's book. He received a very handsome publishing deal, millions upon millions of dollars, that paid for all of the information that you are going to read in its pages. As we understand it, Meghan is going to follow suit and publish her own book, which will no doubt rehash many of the accusations and allegations that we've already heard, and who knows, it may well include further bombshells. So while the royal family may have been willing to give Harry and Meghan a certain amount of grace after the Oprah interview, at this point, how do you even begin to try and repair the relationship? Because as we've said, they can never trust that private conversations that they have with Harry and Meghan won't make it into the pages of a book, won't make it onto the screens of a Netflix documentary. The trust has been irrevocably broken, and I don't think that that is something that can ever be repaired. Unfortunately, as long as Harry and Meghan are given a forum to launch grenades across the ocean, they will continue to do so. And I think the ironic thing here is that, on the one hand, they are lamenting the fact that they weren't afforded privacy and that they were criticized in the public eye, and here they are doing the exact same thing to a level that could never be attained by anyone in the public, apparently without any consequence whatsoever. So I guess my takeaway from the book, in truth, is enough has to be enough at some point, and when is the finish line for Harry and Meghan? Will they ever reach it, or will it just continue to be a one-sided attack on the royal family who are unable to really respond or ever truly defend themselves?